Born in the moonlight. Ain't a fantasy. Can't breathe in the sunlight.
Hello beautifuls, this is Arami here. Welcome back to Changeling. We're here walking in the middle of the woods with Allie though. Subconsciously, not unsubconsciously. Because we're learning about barriers. Did I already read this part? And soon enough we were trekking through the woods down a narrow trail that had probably been scratched out over time by deer and elk. I pushed through the mossy ferns, wondering why I couldn't have sleepwalked my way down this trail instead of off into the middle of nowhere the other night. It would have been so much easier to find the way back. So why exactly are we hiking through the forest right now anyway? You cast that bear right where Mom could see you and she didn't notice a thing. It's pretty easy to be a bit stealthy with that spell, not so much for the one I'm going to show you. It's not some static barrier like the one I put up around your house, and we couldn't do it in my room. Not unless you wanted to break something and probably get a lot of attention from your family. That sounded kind of ominous, to be honest, and just how far were we going into the woods? She'd say it wouldn't be far, but we've been walking for a while. What exactly are you teaching me? It's a defensive spell, something a little different from a normal barrier. At the same time the barrier goes up, it releases a rush of wind that would knock back anything coming towards you. So say a crazed brigand is lumbering at you. The spell would not only embed its path, but also push it away and put some distance between you. And why is something like this needed? Oh, to protect yourself? I'm not complaining, mind you, just curious. Here's a good spot. She pushed through some sparse weeds, and stepped into a small clearing. We'd definitely gone far enough out of sight and earshot of the houses that we didn't have to worry about being seen. That was certain. Hopefully we wouldn't come across any other hikers. Ellie turned to face me, dropping her bag as she took a breath. Okay, let me ask this first. What do you think is the difference between an active and passive barrier? A passive barrier stays up on its own. An active barrier can move around? I have no idea, you're the expert. I feel like the passive barrier can stay up on its own. Like the one you put on the house. I mean, I assume, I'm kind of guessing here. Ding ding ding, you're correct. Passive barriers stay up on their own after they're cast. Active barriers require the caster to actively focus on keeping them up. That comes with its own pros and cons. But in the end, each type of barrier has certain situations that it's good for. Okay, but why is that important? Because I'm about to teach you how to create an active barrier. A passive barrier will shatter immediately if attacked by strong enough force. If you throw a marshmallow out a window, it'll just bounce off, right? But if you throw a rock, the rock goes straight through, so that's one of the weaknesses of a passive barrier. But an active barrier can survive really strong attacks as long as your willpower is stronger than the attacker. That means they're capable of withstanding a tremendous amount of force in the right situation. Sounds pretty impressive. It can be, but the drawback is that maintaining a barrier under the force of repeated attacks wears down stamina really fast. It makes you physically and mentally exhausted pretty quickly. I sincerely hope I never am in a situation where I'm dealing with repeated attacks. Same, but a lot of people take self-defense classes even though they hope they never encounter a mugger or stalker. It's just good to be prepared, right? And in this world, sometimes we encounter things a lot worse than a thug with a knife. The reason I want to teach you this particular barrier is because being able to knock back your attacker can sometimes buy you enough time to get away. It has the added advantage of possibly disabling them too. Is there really a lot of fighting and attacking the paranormal community? I mean, look at the werewolves, they're fighting for territory. Unfortunately, it can be dangerous. Yeah, there aren't a lot of laws governing interspecies relations, except in regards to treatment of humans in normal society. So I've heard. It's not like you can just call the police if some cryptic decides to harass you. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to show you the basics today. We can start practicing during club time after though. Now usually you'll want to speak a command when you cast a barrier. You don't have to, but especially since you're a newbie, a command will give you a higher chance of successful casting the magic. The word you say doesn't really matter either, but the firmer mental image of the barrier it conjures, the better the barrier will be. So the important thing is to pick a command that strikes a chord for you. To start with, you should probably just say something like barrier or shield or even appear. She stood a few feet away from me and took a deep breath, facing off to one side. Sweeping her arm out in front of her, she drew a straight line through the air. This just scared me. As her arm moved, a blast of wind streaked across the ground in front of her, throwing twigs and leaves into the air. It slammed into a tree with enough force to knock a flurry of leaves from the branches. If I looked carefully, I could almost see the air in front of her shimmering slightly. In addition to knocking your attacker back, this will set up a barrier directly in front of you. You can create different shapes, but I think we should start with a simple straight barrier in front of you, like an invisible wall. She dropped her arm and turned to me. I knew my eyes had to be really wide because she grinned as soon as she saw my face. Now you try. To be honest, I wasn't sure about trying magic, and frankly, I felt silly as I walked to where she'd been standing. I took a deep breath as she had done. What does it feel like to use magic? Everyone kept saying I had magic energy, but I couldn't tell. I felt like I always had. Closing my eyes, I tried to mentally search for some kind of inner spark or light or flame, or anything felt magical. Just take your time. Focus. That's what I'm trying to do. I swept my arm around the arm through the air, not moving my arm around the air. Arm through the air as Allie had done. Barrier. Nothing happened. Well then. Suddenly, my entire body went cold, and a blast of freezing air came howling out from my feet. It hurled itself at the trees, sending blizzards of leaves showering down on me and Allie. The rush of air almost sounded like a voice or laughter. I stared. I knew I was wide-eyed this time. Allie looked equally surprised as she gawked at the tree than at me. She suddenly burst out laughing. You're totally covered in leaves. Psh, have a look at yourself. You look like you're thinking of giving up on high school and becoming a tree. She picked a few leaves out of her hair and grinned at me. Well, that was a resounding success. I'm impressed. But I didn't really do it correctly, right? I have no idea how I did that. Well, keep practicing until you feel more confident. But at least now you'll be able to defend yourself a bit. But I thought I did it out on the air and then I gave up and just put my hand down. So wouldn't it have like reflected down? Apparently not though. No more practice today. Well, I like to practice more, but we should probably get you back so you can relieve yourself before Danny shows up. I thought a tingle of butterflies as she reminded me of my parents' surprise date. Suddenly, Allie was standing next to me, wrapping her arms around me tightly. I'm just so glad that I can share this kind of thing with you. I can't really talk to my parents about it since I don't know if they... Well, I can't really talk to them. They've never said anything about sorry, I cannot read. They've never said anything, and it's hard to try to find a way to ask if they know why I have magic. And outside the club, none of my other friends are part of all of this. She squeezed me tightly and released me. There were tears shining in her eyes, and she rubbed at them, hastily laughing slightly. Sorry, I'm really happy. I hugged her gently, for the first time realizing how lonely she'd probably been. I'm glad I have you to help me through this. We were both giggly and a little teary, the entire walk back to the backyard. Before she left, Allie pressed a small bag into my hands. What's this? Well, a potential solution to your nighttime escapades. One has a herb that is a fairy bane, something that acts as a ward to keep fairies out. A fairy bane? I never even considered that something like that would even work on me. But what are we keeping me out of? Nothing, but I kind of conferred with a friend of mine over it. We thought if you sprinkled it in your doorway before bed, it might keep you in. It won't actually hurt you, but from what I read, it causes a burning sensation if fairies come into contact with. At the very least, hopefully it'll wake you up. Just make sure you're careful in handling it. The other jar has things that would counteract the stuff in the first jar. Bluebells, thyme, and other fairy plants. You can use it in the mornings to dispel the other one. I wrote down some instructions for you and labeled the jars for you. Thanks. I just hope it works. At this point, I'm willing to try anything. She gave me a quick hug and fled my room with a grin. I'll leave you to get ready. I know the way out. Psst. She just wants to find Spencer to flirt more before she leaves. I shut the door and leaned against it, looking down at the little bag in my hand. I really hope it worked. But for now, shower. I put the bag she'd given me in my bedside table and went to, as Allie put it, do leave. I woke up uncomfortably as I shed my clothes. Finally, we can see the Jack and Jill bathroom. That last bit with the trees had definitely ended with me having leaves in some rather uncomfortable places. I turned on the shower and sat on the edge of the tub, picking leaves out of my hair as the water heated up. As I gathered it all up and pulled it over my shoulder to run my fingers through it and pick out any debris still lurking, I remembered the incident at lunch. If anything, Allie's magic lesson demonstrated I could definitely do magic when I wanted to, which lent more credence to the idea I was unconsciously casting some kind of magic over myself. White hair. Was that my true appearance? I still didn't know how I felt about something like that. Ugh. I pushed my hair back over my shoulder and tried to not think about it as I stepped in the shower and pulled the curtain shut. I had literally just gotten dressed and was reading her instructions when the doorbell rang. Danny! I set the note down and anxiously padded to my door, lurking there as I listened to Mom greet him. Oh, so he really did come. Michiko! Okay, I can do this. I smoothed my shirt and started down, trying to quell the butterflies. I was so glad Allie remembered I wasn't a huge fan of surprises, especially not with all the ones I've been dealing with the past couple of days, or weeks. I felt much more confident heading downstairs, dressed at least slightly nicer than usual. Danny! Hi! What are you doing here? I laughed awkwardly. Allie told you, didn't she? I mean, she's my best friend. Sorry. Well, I kind of expected her to. Does that mean you're ready then? Yeah. Oh, do you two have a date? Mom, leave! I gently pushed her toward the hall. Go badger Spencer. About when he plans to ask Allie out. Oh, are they going to start dating? You'll find out when you talk to him. She took the bait and trotted off happily, leaving me and Danny alone. I smiled, feeling awkward and more than a little embarrassed. Danny just laughed. I like your mom. Yes, well, she's a terror, but I guess I like her too. He grinned and stepped back, opening the door for me. Ladies first? I feel like we've been through this, but I won't argue, just for today. I stepped outside and took a deep breath as I started down the steps. I really love autumn. I do too, it's my favorite time of the year. I smiled up at him as we walked to his car. I guess that's something we have in common. Danny, in typical Danny fashion, opened the car door for me. I climbed in and gave him a cheeky grin as I snatched the door from him and shut it myself. He shook his head, grinning as he walked around to the driver's side. Since I knew you're a huge coffee fan, I was thinking of taking you to the Murder. The cafe is good, but they also have really great coffee. Is that okay? Oh, sure! Of course, I'd embarrassed myself in there just yesterday. But at least going there would give me the chance to apologize to the guy I nearly knocked over while... Wait, what? It was a worker? Dude. While fleeing dramatically from the courtyard. So, Corbin's family owns it, right? Yeah, it's a normal cafe on one side, but they're also involved with Cryptic Society. They're kind of known as go-to people for any sort of information or problems that need solving. So, is all of his family Cryptics? Because that's a crazy rare, right? Most of the customers in the normal side are just regular people, but you may see a few Cryptics. Just as a word of warning, it's really a well-known shop. Huh, interesting. I wasn't sure what he meant by normal side, though. The cafe didn't have this designated parking, so Danny had to park a ways down the street. Then he walked to the cafe. It was funny how the moment someone mentioned the word date, I started worrying about things like holding hands. Did he want to? Should I initiate? How was I supposed to know? I finally gave up the inner debate. Honestly, this is why I usually avoid anything remotely resembling a romantic situation. There's too much inner flailing and uncertainty about the most trivial things. I had to just go for it. Right. I somewhat hesitantly slipped my hand to his as we walked. He looked down at me surprised. Is this okay? Yes, I mean, it's fine. I don't know. I don't know our relationship. He squeezed my hand tighter and smiled down at me, face a little red. It was kind of a relief I wasn't the only one who felt awkward about this kind of thing. Is it really a date? His hand was so warm. I moved a little closer to him and our shoulders brushed against each other as we walked. My heart was doing little somersaults through my chest, or at least it felt like it. But still, this is nice, isn't it? We walked quietly for a few moments after that. Minutes? Sorry. I hadn't spent much time in my town since moving back. Just a couple of times with Mom. It hadn't changed that much, except now. Well, the paranormal population was kind of obvious. I had been noticing them in other places too. School sometimes, home. But there were a lot of them lurking around town, more than I'd actually noticed the last time. I wonder if it's what the Samhain, Samhain, even though that's not the word, or whatever. I shivered slightly and moved closer to Danny as I watched an impossibly tall, lanky man cross the street. No one else reacted to him at all. There are quite a few of them here, aren't there? I said it out loud without thinking, more than usual because of the time of year. I thought so. They'll start decreasing after the holiday. He gave me a long look. Can you see them all? A lot of them actually. A lot of them anyway. Can't you? Danny just shook his head at that and squinted toward the tall man on the opposite side of the street. I can kind of see some of them. The rest I'm aware of, but can't really see. What happens if I just walk into one of them? Do I physically hit something, but then on his end, it's like I hit nothing? Oh, I guess you're closer to that side of things than I am. What does that mean? Is he saying I'm less human than he is? Try not to pay them undue attention. Even if we're cryptics too, we're both close enough to human that it would be best not to attract anything, especially you. Yeah, that pure energy thing, I was in the mood to get eaten, thank you very much. The shop is just about half a block further. He pointed to a sign a short distance down the sidewalk. That was a relief. But in the meantime, it was hard to pay attention to them. They were creepy. We passed by a dark shape loitering near a parking meter, and I couldn't help but wonder what it even was. Fairy? Some kind of elemental nature spirit? I couldn't usually see ghosts, so it wasn't that. Oh shit, dude. I'm home alone. This is not... I'm scared. I'm home alone. I'm scared. I glanced up as we passed and saw two pale eyes staring down at me. Crap! I looked away as quickly as I could and lowered my head. This is where your girl's gonna stop, because that literally scared the hell out of me. Because, I don't know if you guys already know, I'm pretty sure some of you already know, I am not a big fan of No Face. And that guy reminded me of No Face, because, you know, all in black and then you see the scary ass eyes. Even though No Face in the end did turn good, but I was young at the time when I first saw that movie, and ever since growing up, your girl is very scared of him. I have goosebumps. Even though that was just a black blob with some scary eyes, it still scares me. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Has to wonder next to